Money, the greatest illusion of humanity. What is the man's greatest invention? If I were to ask you, what is your answer to this? There are a lot of possible answers. Possibly a fire, because it helps us to prepare our food and provides warmth and protection. Or maybe you'd choose the wheel because it was the impetus for the development of trade, commerce, and transportation. Even while both of those are fantastic options, we frequently overlook one of the most significant innovations of all when we discuss the best human achievements: money. But money is immaterial, unlike the other great inventions of mankind. Perhaps for this reason, we don't frequently associate it with other notable inventions. Hello there, this is the Financial Fortune, and in this video, we are going to talk about money, the greatest illusion of humanity. Don't forget to leave a like, click subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we release new videos. Money is not tangible, unlike things like fire and the wheel. Money, at least as we understand it now, is nothing more than an idea, an illusion whose value is unreal and only defined by the value we assign it. Money's illusion does not, however, diminish its significance in any way. Before humanity invented money, we were compelled to use a system known as barter to conduct direct trades in commodities and services. People exchanged products and services in exchange for other goods and services. Every deal was based on what each side was ready to give up for something they wanted, because there was no arbitrary value placed on these items. You see, our money is seen as a store of value in addition to being a means of exchange. Additionally, some people were unable to store their riches prior to the advent of money through no fault of their own. Another issue is having something that hardly anybody else wants. Nowadays, finding a niche is frequently advised when beginning a business. A select number of individuals who are keenly interested in what you have to give. That advice would have left you with nothing worth exchanging in the days before money existed. Those who possessed something that everyone coveted were the ones who had the most. Things like salt, leather, and swords. However, as soon as it became clear that everyone desired these items, people began purchasing them even when they weren't immediately necessary in order to trade for them later. Consequently, commodity money emerged. The most basic necessities such as salt or weapons would be exchanged for commodities and services, and people would then utilize those items to trade with one another for whatever it is they want. Humanity had developed a more efficient system for conducting businesses. You can swap your goods and services for arbitrary items to serve as placeholders of value and IOU, as opposed to exchanging them for goods and services you might not need at that time. After that, you might use these placeholders to obtain from someone else the goods and services you really want. The concept was so great that everyone gradually switched over to the money trade system instead of using the barter system. However, this method of exchange still had one issue. You see, money needs to be scarce in order to have any value. The inferred value of something decreases with more accessibility. Something couldn't be so valuable if anyone can obtain it, can it? Therefore, items like sand or shells that are simple to collect on any beach weren't actually a fair indicator of value. Consequently, in 770 BC, the first metal coins were made in China. Chinese artisans created small reproductions of the tools that were originally used as money as a type of homage. The round shape of the coins made it simple to reach into pockets and remove them without damaging your fingers. The bronze coins were then cast. There it was. Finally, money had some value. It wasn't possible to simply go to a beach and collect bronze. It was scarce. It was useful. Money wasn't an illusion at this point. A coin's value was defined by the value of the metal it was made from. A coin weighing 1 gram of gold had a value of 1 gram of gold. You could easily weigh it to confirm that it is 1 gram of gold for yourself. However, the influence of money was swiftly realized by kings and rulers. They understood that having more of these little precious metals gave you more control over your power. Money has remained an illusion from ancient kings to modern governments and central banks. Merely a representation whose worth is based on how much significance others assign it. The 10,000 Singapore dollar note is now the most valued banknote in use. Even though it is no longer printed, this one piece of paper, which is currently worth 7,335 US dollars, is nevertheless recognized as legal cash. You can still use it to purchase precious items like gold, cars, houses, and other metals. The production cost of the banknote is less than 20 cents, but thanks to the illusion created by the fiat currency system, it has a value equivalent to 120 grams of gold. The fancy term we use to explain the current illusion is fiat. It is a Latin word that means let it be done and refers to a government order setting the value of money and establishing it as a legal tender. We rarely give the illusion of money any thought, but much like the ancient kings, modern rulers are aware of the influence of money and, as always, desire more of it. They're aware that having more of these papers gives you more influence. What do they do then? Well, they can just conjure up more blank sheets of paper. For instance, if the US government requested $340 million for, say, perhaps another F-22 plane, they would simply print the money to do so. However, there is one drawback to this: inflation. The issue with money is that it must primarily function as a medium of exchange in order to be valued. Therefore, the quantity of money in use must correspond to the output of the goods and services being offered. All other things being equal, when more money is printed than there are products and services, the prices of these commodities and services rise and the value of the money itself decreases. Because of this, many economists and even ordinary folks like you and me are concerned about the United States dollar, which is currently the world reserve currency. The year 2020 was dreadful for the entire world. The majority of economies had to be shut down after the pandemic. The globe temporarily came to a standstill as a number of goods and services accessible and the economy's overall output were seen as nothing more than trickles. Because there wasn't as much money moving around, the US government began printing money at a rate quicker than it had ever done in its history in order to prevent the economy from collapsing and, in essence, our world from coming to an end. 40% of the US dollars in circulation today were printed just in the past 18 months. The country's output hasn't really increased that much, and soon prices for products and services could start to soar. This may be observed in the price of commodities like lumber, which has increased by up to 3 times from a year ago. If you haven't already noticed, several items at your favorite restaurants are now slightly more expensive than they were a year ago, even though it's a negligibly little increase. Perhaps Chipotle's guacamole cost 20 cents more, taking its place right in front of your eyes. The decision of governments to provide stimulus and unemployment benefits to their citizens first appears to be a good one, but it has 2 sides to it. Of course, helping those who are most in need is a wonderful thing. People currently find it difficult to get the right jobs at the perfect times due to inflation and a slowing economy. Sometimes it's not even that they don't want them, it's just that the alternative is worse. For instance, if you work as a waiter or waitress, you are not legally compelled to be paid even the minimum wage, at least in the United States. Some workers receive an hourly wage of just $2 or $3, with the remainder coming from tips. However, there are fewer customers because there are many limitations and laws in place around the nation, and fewer people are going outside. Less money means fewer clients, which means fewer tips. If your staff members don't earn enough money, they'll leave. There will be a domino effect if you don't have staff to help you run your business. What then can you possibly do? The Federal Reserve has repurchased nearly $1 trillion in bonds since March 2020, and it tends to do so indefinitely. Banks can now extend more loans to borrowers, earn more interest, and contribute to the expansion of the economy thanks to the government's massive infusion of new money into them. However, by expanding the overall amount of money in circulation, the value of each dollar is decreased. You might be wondering how much longer this can go with infrastructure programs and multi-trillion-dollar stimulus payouts. Old money loses value to new money. Your bank balance remains the same, but because the government has recently created new money out of thin air, your money no longer has the same purchasing power as it once had. In essence, your wealth is being devalued every second that you keep it in a fiat currency like the US dollar. You may keep staring at your bank account balance, but the amount you have left over will allow you to purchase fewer and fewer items over time. We all need to accept the fact that money is really an illusion. The road to financial freedom will only become evident after that. Everything is a game, and a game never really ends. You won't attempt to store up your wealth in currency if you realize that money has no inherent value and only takes on the value that we assign to it. The only way to win the game is to invest that money in assets that increase in value more quickly than inflation. And it's actually not winning, it's just preventing a complete loss. The value of each dollar in your pocket will continue to decline as more money is issued every day, while the dollar value of assets around the world will increase in value. However, Everything is a mirage, smoke, and mirrors. Even though it could look like everything is fine when the stock market is truly in an uptrend, it isn't. Everything is valued in the same currency, which is steadily losing value. For instance, you would notice that we are essentially where when we were in 1997 if you denominated the DOW Jones, which is a simply performance indicator of the 30 major American corporations in terms of gold rather than USD. What is the purpose of it all in the end? Will the value of each currency just keep falling forever with fiat and an infinite supply of money? Will the disparity between the rich and the poor keep expanding? Or are we going to stop putting our financial success in the hands of people who are ruining it day by day and financially address a problem that is as old as mankind? We hope you learned something from today's video. This is the Financial Fortune, and thank you for watching.